We got Grandma's car in the garage today, 2004 Hyundai with 26,000 miles on it. She says the brakes feel funny because the master cylinder's empty. Gee, go figure.
Here's the broken line running to the left front caliper. Comes through, goes down, back to right here. We're going to be fabricating a new one.
Living in New York where they salt the roads in the wintertime, I've had plenty of experience in replacing rusted out brake lines. Not very fun to do sometimes, but it's a necessary evil. And this is what I'm going to have to fabricate. I'm going to be using a copper nickel brake tubing to repair this, fabricate the new line. These have bubble flares on the end, so I have a bubble flaring toolkit to make up the new ends. I'm going to be reusing the fittings on the end of these lines. There's nothing wrong with them. I'll just cut them off and put them on the new line. Copper nickel, or nickel copper, is an alloy of 90% copper and 10% nickel. Not to be confused with regular copper tubing, which should never be used for any brake lines. It's available in long lengths, so there's no need to piece together smaller sections of tubing if you need to replace a complete line on a car. It meets all SAE safety standards, and in fact Volvo in the mid-70s started using it on their cars. And the most important thing of all is it will never rust. So why aren't all manufacturers using this? Because it costs more than steel line. They want to save a buck. This tubing is extremely easy to work with. It bends very easily, flares very nicely. You can bend most of the turns you need by hand. You don't need any bending tools, and really makes the job go very well. Now watch me fabricate this entire line, bending it using nothing but my bare hands. Here's a preliminary fit with just the one end done. Got it pretty close. Figured out how I'm going to end it there. Just need to mark it off and put an end on that tubing. Here I am cutting off the end with the tubing cutter to prepare the end to get the new flare. I'm using a drill bit to chamfer out the inside of the hole. And then I'm going to use a file to clean up the end and chamfer a little bit of the outside before it goes into the flaring tool. Here's the most important part. Don't forget to put the fitting on before you flare the tubing. I'm putting a little drop of oil on the end of the line before it gets clamped into the tool. That'll lubricate the end of the anvil when it pushes the flare. Locking it into the tool. I use a file to make it flush with the tool end before it gets squeezed down. This is done in real time here. I'm not shortening anything up. This is how quickly it'll go with this tubing. Works out very well. You can also double flare this tubing, but it takes a little practice to get it right, depending on the quality of your tubing tool. Okay, all done. Now we just need to bleed the brakes out. The quickest, fastest, easiest way to bleed the brakes by yourself: a plastic bottle and a piece of vacuum hose. You don't need any fancy tools. You can make this out of stuff lying around, and it works fantastic. I got the bottle hanging by a wire. I got the rubber hose shoved on the bleeder. I got the wrench just sitting there, so fill up the master cylinder, crack open the line, hop in the car and pump the brake pedal. Keep pumping the pedal until you force all the air out of the system, until you get a decent amount of fluid in there. Then you could just close the wrench and pull the line off. I'm going to bleed out the other side after the left side is done, and Grandma will be ready to roll. Don't be afraid to try this yourself, and thanks for watching.